It's been a year since the last update. A year of channel silence. A year of frustration. Work, bugs, and game dev tears. No matter what happens, the project will never die. 2 years of hard work will not be lost. Finding determination, hope, and faith. Overcoming the most difficult obstacles I've ever encountered. The game has been reborn. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers and loyal supporters, welcome to Update 12. Most of what has happened during the inactivity are related to serious technical issues with the game. Nonetheless, there are multiple topics to cover in this video, so I'll go through them in order, starting with the most important change. This new scoring system drastically changes the way matches are played. By changing the metagame without alienating the basic gameplay, this new scoring system is what I like to call the value system. Let's break down how this works. First, notice how there are bars shown at the top of the screen. These two bars represent the team's life value. By defeating other players, the opposing team's life value decreases based on the kind of enemy you defeated. Rather than having a system where first to 20 kills is the winner, we instead have first team to lose all their life value loses. This introduces a new type of balancing to the game. Each player has two new stats that heavily influence the gameplay: offensive value and death value. Let's go over offensive value first. Offensive value indicates how much damage a character deals to the team's life bar. This is different from gun damage, as gun damage lowers the enemy's health and not the opposing team's health. Death value is how much damage you lose from your team's life value when you get defeated. Higher death value means you'll lose with fewer deaths. Play cautiously when you have a high death value. Taking these two stats together further adds the amount of damage to the life value. When you kill an enemy, it's your offensive value plus enemy's death value equals total damage dealt to enemy's team life value. When an enemy kills you, it's vice versa. To further go in depth of how the system works, every character has their own stats of offensive value and death value. This is to justify balancing between characters while still keeping them fun and viable to use. Alongside with the base stats of each character, equipping certain weapons also modifies their offensive value and death value. To put it simply, the deadlier your character is, the higher their death value. The harder it is to use your character and/or their weapon, the higher their offensive value will be. If that's confusing you, let's take a look at some examples. Sniper is a very difficult character to use. A seemingly out-of-place character to be in a very fast-paced environment can drive off some players. Finally, managing to land a shot on an enemy isn't reliable enough for a single kill. That is where the offensive value comes in. Sniper boasts very high offensive value, greatly rewarding players for well-placed shots. So if you choose Sniper, get ready for high kill rewards. A highly skilled player who uses the Sniper can end the match very quickly. Soldier in this update has 3 different primary weapons, each with their own extra stats. The assault rifle is quite generic, but it's easy to use and very balanced, capable of handling a variety of situations. The PX90 SMG is a crazy weapon. High rate of fire, large clip size, and high mobility makes this weapon very easy to use. It is a spray and pray type, also allowing the player to bunny hop with ease. These stats combined punishes the player by offering almost no extra offensive value when equipped. The match can take a while if you aren't killing enough enemies with this weapon. If you choose to go SMG, be prepared for below average kill rewards. ZK-47 is a devastating weapon. It has the highest damage of all the other primaries that the soldier uses. As an automatic weapon with very high damage per second, equipping this gives the user a very high death value. Because the weapon can kill enemies quickly, doesn't mean it deserves a heavy offensive value penalty. The offensive value remains close to the assault rifle because the ZK-47 is a difficult weapon to use. The recoil increases the longer the user shoots, the complete opposite of the SMG. Spraying is not the way to go with this weapon when at range. The user must burst fire to keep the firing intervals accurate. In Update 3, I went over this recoil system with the soldier's battle rifle. The battle rifle has been reincarnated as the ZK-47. Next, let's go over one of my personal favorites, the drone. Drone is an interesting character. He is extremely lightweight, smallest playable character in the game, inability to crouch as if it matters for him, but also has poor ground mobility and the lowest health in the game, making him extremely glass cannon. Looking at these stats at a glance, Drone appears to be the worst character in the game, lowest offensive value and highest death value. Why is this? First off, Drone is very mobile in the air. Airborne is his game. As long as Drone is in the air, he can be a very difficult target to hit. When holding the grenade launcher, he has two different options for mobility, grenade jumping and air dashing. Grenade jumping, much like rocket jumping, pushes Drone back when hit by an explosion. Since Drone is the lightest character in the game, he benefits the most out of grenade jumping. With the use of grenade jumping, Drone can navigate through the map with ease. Air dashing allows Drone to quickly peek out of cover for an attack, or confuse enemies with rapid movements to evade attacks. This also allows Drone to rush in close to the enemy for an attack. Combine this with grenade jumping, and Drone will gain huge burst of speed. While holding dual blasters, Drone also becomes very mobile in the air. His extreme air mobility, alongside very small hitbox size, gives Drone the highest death value in the game. Drone is a very difficult target to hit, so managing to defeat Drone is worth the trouble. If you play as Drone, don't let the enemy kill you. Now for his offensive value. That is extremely low. Well, I guess that means his weapons must be really OP, right? That is not the case. Grenade launchers have been well known for being ridiculously overpowered in certain FPS games. However, Drone's grenade launcher is actually much harder to use. It is a unique weapon and has two different firing modes, grenade shot and plasma shot. Grenade shot is the primary fire. It has mediocre blast radius but is highly damaging to the enemy. It can also deal knockback to enemies and yourself for grenade jumping. Plasma shot is the secondary fire. It has huge blast radius but deals no damage to the enemies. It can be used to heal allies, giving Drone support options. Now here's the catch with the plasma shot. It can be used to increase Drone's offensive value. By healing allies and attacking enemies with the plasma shots, Drone becomes more powerful, making him a huge threat if ignored. This means Drone can have the lowest offensive value in the game, or the highest offensive value in the game. There is a limit to stacking offensive value, however, as Drone will no longer receive extra offensive value after his base offensive value has reached 500. From there, only his weapons add extra offensive value. As a Drone user, you can't be too confident, because if you die, you'll lose all the gained offensive value, resetting it back to default. Play carefully as Drone, maintain survivability, help your team, stack offensive value, and end the game quickly. Drone being a difficult target to hit does not mean he is easy to use. There are many other changes that have been made to the game, but I will only cover the rest that are important and worth talking about. As you may notice right away, the UI received a massive overhaul. Thanks to Unity's new UI system, the game's UI has been changed and drastically improved. Updated health bar and stamina bar, a new chat box, a timer, current weapons equipped, and players' current offensive value and death value. The black cross icon serves no purpose at the moment in this update. The pause menu has been changed as well, being much easier to navigate through. Mouse sensitivity is much more customizable now. You can change the general sensitivity, X and Y sensitivity, and the scope sensitivity while aiming. When engaged in combat, it is important to keep an eye on your stamina so that you do not tire out. However, keeping an eye on your stamina can be a hassle if you are very focused on the enemy. This is why a new feature has been added, where the screen starts to blur when the player is about to tire out. This will warn the player to stop using more stamina so that they can recover. If the player continues to use more stamina, the blur becomes more dense, and will slowly unblur as the user recovers from their stamina from tired out state. A few new extra variables have been added to the player's movement. This adds more variety to the gameplay while further optimizing the balancing. Previously, the sprint or dash speed was shared with the air and crouch speed. This felt restrictive in some cases when trying to keep the game as balanced as possible. Now the player has much more options for maneuverability. Take Soldier's shotgun for example. By crouching and dashing in any direction, Soldier moves extremely fast while keeping a low profile at the cost of rapid stamina consumption. This is a low rush assault that is generally used to take your opponent by surprise for a finishing blow. His other move, Air Ambush, is done by leaping into the air while holding down the sprint key to maintain momentum. The stamina usage is decreased if you're sprinting in the air, but you have little control over the air momentum. By releasing the sprint key, firing immediately, then holding down the sprint key again, you can effectively jump shoot enemies while being evasive. Drone is all about air mobility, so now he can dash very fast in the air without having to make his ground dash speed fast as well. While in the air, Drone uses up more stamina while dashing, in exchange for very high air maneuverability and high speed. While on the ground, Drone doesn't use that much stamina, but doesn't dash that fast either. The technical changes aren't the most exciting to talk about, but they are extremely important to the game. The most contributing change is the updated netcode. Switching over to Photon, for now, has allowed for easy connection to the server. With a click of a button, the game will find a hosted room and you will join that room automatically. This type of system is placeholder until I learn more about advanced networking. 98% of the game was converted from JavaScript/Unity script over to C# for better compatibility and optimal coding. It was also to ensure that the game would work with Photon networking. Having to convert the game twice is one of the main reasons why this update took so long. What happened behind the scenes is an entire story in itself that I may plan to post later for anyone's interest. I hope you enjoyed this update video. There are many other features that are yet to be implemented into this game. It's been 2 years ever since I began working on this game. It may seem like a long time, but this game has a long way to go, and I feel that this update is just the start of what's to truly come to this game. I may post a video sometime within the next few weeks in regards to my story of the 1 year of channel inactivity. It could end up a little dramatized, but I'd like to share how it was like to be that solo game dev, sitting in his chair, trying to do the impossible. In the meantime, I am looking towards having a more open community. I feel that having a great relationship between the game dev and the community would help support the game to become even greater. I will post other videos that may not be directly related to the updates, but rather discussions and thoughts. Have your say, and let's build the game together. I have a Twitter account where I tweet stuff that would otherwise not be worthy of a video in itself. Mostly small stuff, such as screenshots, concepts, or blog-like stuff. An IndieDB page has also been opened that includes the latest screenshots and news articles about the game. This is where you can grab as much information about the game. It is fairly blank at the moment, but I will update it with detailed articles and media about the game. If you have an IndieDB account, you may also use the forums there once I open it up. Lastly, I have been considering other websites for the convenience of communication between the game dev and the community. One of them is Reddit. I am a little cautious about it, so I want to hear your thoughts if it might be a good idea to create a subreddit for Project Heroes. It may have been a year of inactivity, but it surprises me to see how you guys continue to remain supportive to the channel. Thank you so much for the support, and thank you for your interest in this work-in-progress game. My name is BountyXSnipe, thank you for watching, and have a great day.